Hey, welcome back to the Marvelous Chaps YouTube channel. My name's Hoffman. This is my buddy Finto.
Yo, guys, what's up?
And today we're talking about episode 5 of Boba Fett, which has been one of the most talked about episodes of Boba Fett on the internet. I think I've seen the most hype for this one. But before we get into that, if this is your first time here to the Marvelous Chaps YouTube channel, make sure you leave a subscription, turn on our notification bells so you can see when we post stuff about Star Wars. We do a weekly podcast that comes every Saturday that covers the MCU, covers Star Wars, DCU. So that comes out on Sunday. So drop the subscription, leave a like on this video so you can let other people know that you liked it. Finto, episode 5 of Boba Fett. We see the return of the Mandalorian. What'd you think about this episode, man?
Dude, I gotta say, this episode was absolutely phenomenal. This could be the best, live action TV that we've seen. I think, I've been trying to think about it, and I think the episode obviously where we saw Luke return, well, I don't think they'll ever top that in Star Wars ever. I think that was the greatest Star Wars moment of all time. This is potentially a close second, this episode, maybe tied second with the Ahsoka episode. I really liked that episode personally. So yeah, top 3, absolutely loved it. And I have so many notes, so I think the best thing to do is probably just, we'll go through the episode, break it down, talk about everything, and just get absolutely stuck into it. So the episode opens up, and Mando makes his appearance, and these dudes are basically in a butcher shop, and the Mandalorian comes in, swinging the Darksaber like an absolute antichrist, and butchers these guys. Excuse the pun. I just loved it, dude. He seemed to flow really well with the Darksaber, and I had to go and rewatch the episode. I watched it twice, and during my second watch, did notice that he is struggling to swing it. And I didn't notice it the first time, but it, obviously later on in the episode we find out why. But it was actually portrayed very well, and then obviously he injures himself with it and stuff. And I thought that was amazing. Tell me what did you think yourself?
I love the intro to the episode. I think the Mando has the best entrances in all of the Star Wars. They always just show him in this ominous framing where he's in the center of a doorway. It's just classic Western awesomeness every time. I love the setting of the butcher shop. It felt, I don't know, it felt gritty and Star Wars like. And I like that they showed him injuring himself with the Darksaber. One of the things I think a lot of people have complaints about in Star Wars is that in the sequel trilogy, we get people who are just immediately good with whatever they're using, and they don't hurt themselves, right? Where we got the Mando using something that he probably shouldn't be using yet. And so the Darksaber injures him, almost cuts his leg off. He puts a big slice down his leg from this very dangerous item. Yeah. I don't understand fully why this thing is so hard for him to control and why it's so heavy. I'm guessing it's because it's a gravitational thing because of what the sword is. I don't think they really explained that fully enough. And I don't think that the people who've used this previously in the TV show had this much of a trouble wielding it like the Mando does. But I do like that's been introduced. I love that's a challenge for Mando. Opening scene was great. Darksaber was great. And it shows just how, Jin is. He leaves and tells people, hey, go get that money. It's not mine.
Yeah.
Love that.
Love that. Yeah. It's I can't lay claim to these credits. They're yours. Just let me pass. And it's fantastic. I love his whole attitude. I love everything about him. And yeah, he just makes such an explosive return to the episode. Were you getting any Halo vibes off the big ring?
Big Halo vibes. And I said something to my girlfriend about it. And she thought I was joking. I was like, no, that's literally Halo, the video game. Yeah. It's just it's a space station instead of land, right? But it's the same deal.
Yeah.
I bet people over at Paramount were incredibly pissed because they're getting ready to make a Halo TV show. The trailer's going to be dropping soon, and everyone now is just going to think they ripped off Star Wars. Yeah. My girlfriend would totally think that if she didn't know any better because I'm a dork,
Yeah, absolutely. Speaking again on the Darksaber, in the episode we get a lot of lore, a lot of history, and if you're not a big kind of animated Star Wars fan, you're probably hearing a lot of that stuff for the very first time. They do actually do the entire Bo-Katan storyline in Rebels, and you see her gain the Darksaber, and in the episode, the armor, she refers to Bo-Katan as a cautionary tale, and it was just so cool to hear about it in the future and you know it's a tale, but we've actually, if you're a fan of the animated stuff, you've actually lived it. You were there for it, like, you know. So it was great how they tied it in, and it's just Filoni, obviously. You know, the term Filoni verse is getting thrown around a lot now, and I think, like, you know, it's true. Like, they're connecting everything, you know, prequels, animated, like Clone Wars and Rebels, into the OG trilogy, and then I'm sure as we go on, there's probably going to be potentially flash forwards into like the time just before the episode 7, 8, 9. I wouldn't be surprised. So yeah, like, it's just loved it. And she had one line, the armorer had one line in the episode which I thought was fucking fantastic. And she says, all this talk about the Empire, they lasted 30 years. Mandalorians have been around for 1,000 years. And I was just like, whoa.
Yeah. Well, wait till she gets to the sequels, okay? You know, slow down there, armor. We don't know what's coming.
Yeah, and I just thought it was a very powerful statement to make, you know, just like showing how long the Mandalorians have been around. I love the fact that there was mention as well of Tar Vizsla, who was the Jedi, who was a Mandalorian who forged the Darksaber. Again, I'd say there's like probably a lot of normal fans that don't watch anime that are probably listening to this going like, whoa, I need to know more about this. This guy sounds so cool. Whereas, you know, we've kind of heard this story a lot. I love that they brought it up. And then that other Mandalorian is actually a direct descendant of him. He's a Vizsla as well, which I thought was really interesting. And then obviously they have that big duel for to fight for the saber, because he thinks he has claim to it. And I think you were speaking about it earlier, but as they're kind of training and she's telling him to free his mind and all this sort of thing, I think like they kind of made a reference in canon that, like, you know, everybody has access to the Force, but, you know, only Jedis can really master it or whatever. So I wonder, is it that they're kind of portraying that anyone can wield these weapons, but you just have to like kind of free your mind and try to tap into the Force? You know, I've seen people suspecting that potentially maybe Din Djarin potentially could be Force sensitive or something. I don't know. I don't really think that, like, I personally wouldn't like it if he was a Jedi.
Right.
I suppose we haven't seen in Star Wars somebody wield a lightsaber who isn't a Jedi, you know?
Yes, we have.
So, who?
We've seen Finn do it, right? Who?
Well, they confirmed at the end that he is Force sensitive, so he will be a Jedi.
And then Han, I would say, wielded it when on Hoth to open it up. He just like flicked it on and wielded it with like no problem. It wasn't like, you know, he was like nervous about it, right? Because it's a big fiery laser, but
true.
It wasn't like he had problems with it.
Mando does say in the episode, Din Djarin says, it gets heavier with every swing. So I think, you know, because like Moff Gideon seemed to use it with ease. I need to go back and watch those episodes, but
that's what I was thinking.
Yeah, so I don't know what it is, but like, you know, what do you make of the whole curse behind the Darksaber? Do you like that sort of thing, or is that a bit ridiculous to you?
I do like it because I think it's starting to open up like the more spiritual aspects of Star Wars. You know, really, we've only gotten Jedi spirituality throughout the whole thing. Like, we know about the Sith, but we never really dive into the spiritual aspects of the Sith, right? It's more just Jedi spirit. So it's like when the Mandalorian stuff's come up, it's like their religion, their spirituality, the whole deal with the waters that run under Mandalore, whatever that is.
Yeah.
You know, when they're tying all this stuff in and bringing on other mythologies to Star Wars, I think that's for the better. I think as much as this is setting up the rest of the episode or season of Boba Fett, this is for sure setting up the bigger Mandalorian stories that they're probably going to be tackling within the next couple of TV shows they put out. I think they put in a lot of time and money into showing us like the destruction of Mandalore. And so I think them describing like the spirituality aspect of the Mandalorian is like doing the same thing, where it's setting up that future story. And I'm excited. I'm pumped for that. You know, the Jedi are the most boring spiritual people. They're just the good guys. You know, let's get into the nitty gritty.
So yeah, I liked how the Armorer explains that their creed of Mandalorians were the only ones to survive because they lived on the moon. And I thought that was really cool. And then as well, to talk about the destruction of Mandalore. Did you get that Terminator 2 reference?
Yeah.
That was epic. That shot was just so cool. I thought that was really great.
But why did they say they're the only ones to survive when we're talking about Bo-Katan? Like, obviously, they still lived. Like, what's she talking about, man?
Yeah, I don't know.
I got a little confused there.
I don't know if she knows that Bo-Katan is alive, because she talks about her like as a kind of a cautionary tale. So I don't know if she knows that she's alive. Maybe she doesn't know. But
true.
Because like, you know, we kind of learn in the previous seasons that this creed that Mando belongs to is like they're like extremists. So you
Yeah.
know, I think she would want to stay far away from Bo-Katan and the rest of them because they've kind of adapted, and she mentions it in the episode. It's like, you know, they lost the way, you know. So that kind of tells me that like she would want nothing to do with them, even if she did think that they were alive. So maybe she's keeping distance for a reason.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like, oh, did you get as well? Grogu. He referred to Grogu as a foundling. I'm not sure if that is like.
I think he said that before.
Did he? Is that like the
Yeah.
race? Is that like what he is?
No,
His
a foundling
species or
I think is like the size of something. Like
Oh, okay. So it's just like a little mini dude.
yeah, I think they call kids foundling sometimes, like in
okay.
certain apprenticeships type of things.
I wasn't sure if that was going to be them, kind of like maybe just on the sly, kind of like dropping the species, because you know the way we it's never really been said what Yoda like what species he is.
Yeah, I think a foundling is something like just, you know, anyone will found. It's probably because he found the thing. It's probably like a kid who was found,
Yeah.
and now you're taking care of them.
Yeah, I'm
So,
reading.
what do you think? What do you think they made for the little foundling there?
Well, it looks like they forged. So obviously, you know, he hands over the spear, which I thought was a great scene because, you know, the armorer says that this can pierce Beskar, so it's gonna be a threat to Mandalorians, and he just hands it over straight away, like, yep, let's just melt it then. Doesn't care. And basically, I think they've made they made like chain links, so I presume it's like a little kind of like armored vest or something that's gonna sit on Grogu. I would presume, and then like kind of like a knight's thing, you know. And then I think maybe as he grows, they'll melt it down again and make something else. But I think it'll help him in his training because, you know, as he's getting lightsabers swung at him, if he gets hit in the arm, it's not going to penetrate. So that's like genius. I think all Jedi should be using that shit, to be honest.
It's what saves him from Kylo later on.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Did you? I love the shape that they folded the chain links in, or whatever they were assuming, where they tied it up and it kind of looked like the head of him. Like I was like, you. Come on, that's the most adorable little thing you've ever seen, man.
I know. I can't wait to see him open it. It's going to be great. Someone brought this up, and I did notice it myself, but the armorer herself has, like, scary knowledge of, like, the Jedi and stuff. So, like, people are, like, saying, like, who is she? You know? And some people are saying she might be Sabine from Rebels. And then some people are saying it could be the clone from... the Bad Batch show, Omega, potentially, which is interesting. But again, I'm just like, someone has to, like, this person, I presume, would have been quite close to the Jedi, because if you think about it, obviously Jedi have been extinct for 30 years, you know, and this person has like deep knowledge, knows that they need to, like, you know, discard attachment and so on. So I feel like that this person would have maybe known a Jedi in their youth and knows the practices of the Jedi. I thought that was interesting. Again, it's opening up stuff for Mando season 3 that I think we need to really go.
And it like definitely feels like she knows information she shouldn't know, because you know, we get the scene where she asked the both of them if they've ever removed their helmet out of nowhere. So it's almost implied that like she knew, or I picked up that like she knew Jin had taken his helmet off before.
Yeah.
Because that was just such a weird question to ask in the middle of that fight, right? Like
a trust test. It's like,
right.
I know it. Let's see, does he lie to me or not? Yeah. I picked up on that as well. I think so. Yeah, I think, like, you know, she's gonna have spies out there that are maybe watching everybody. And yeah, then she announces that he is no longer a Mandalorian, and then that if he wants to cleanse himself, he has to go to the waters beneath Mandalore. So I'm kind of like of two minds. I don't think he's even going to want to do this, because I kind of get the feeling that he isn't really a Mandalorian anymore anyway. You know, and I kind of get the vibes that he's probably going to be hanging up the bounty hunter like hat as well soon. You know, I think he's going to go off and with Luke, you know, he'll be training with Luke, and I wouldn't be surprised if, you know, we get to see scenes of Luke teaching him to use the Darksaber, him kind of becoming a Jedi maybe. I don't know if they will make him Force sensitive, but I think he could potentially join Luke's new temple. Like, you know, I kind of see that going that way, and I don't think he's going to be collecting coin for bounties much longer.
I think you're 100% right thinking that, because I don't want to jump too far ahead, because they, when they give him his new ship, that is not like a bounty hunter ship. Where is he going to store everybody? That hurt his bounties. It's him and a co-pilot and those suckers.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, like I was kind of thinking like maybe he will get like another Razor Crest, but then he could have like a docking state and have the N1 in there. I don't know.
Little Cowboy Bebop action, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, the episode then we end up going back to Tatooine, and
the transport scene, by the way, I absolutely love that transport ship.
Yeah.
The little robot they have there here in Orlando, their Star Tours. It's really in the past that robot there was like the person actually driving the ship.
Yeah.
I think they have C-3PO doing it now. But in the past it was like it still might be that robot. I know initially is that robot.
Yeah.
But that's like literally the robot that flies the ship on the ride for you. Amazing. Who's like an animatronic in real life that you see there. So them putting that in the show, it was just so fun, man. Like that's like one of the ships you would get on for the Star Tours ride.
That's cool.
It's just so dorky. Like I loved it, man.
That is cool. I loved the scene where he goes back to your one who's meant to be building him a Razor Crest. I can't think of her name. And we get to see the BD droid. Now,
oh yes,
that was probably one of my favorite parts of the episode because Jedi Fallen Order is probably one of the best games I've ever played. I loved it. I thought the relationship between Cal Kestis and BD1 was one of the best kind of droid to human like relationships we've seen in Star Wars, and it was just fantastic. Do you think that this BD unit is BD1? Do you think that potentially they could be like working on a little Cal Kestis appearance and then he kind of meets back up to get BD1 back? Or do you think it's just a different BD droid?
I feel like it's just a different droid. I don't know why. I don't get the sense that it would be Cal's, right? But I do loved it. I adored it. I was almost hoping halfway that he would go with Mando and like be his droid.
Yeah.
But I don't think it was the same one. I don't know why. I think it's just another robot. Star Wars robots are everywhere.
Yeah.
But I did love the character growth. Like it's Mando once again trusting robots or like thinking a robot, which is huge for him.
I loved the relationship between the two of them. Where he's like hold the light straight, stuff when he's under the N and one, and yeah, it was fantastic. And the way he scanned things, and like that was what BD1 did in the game, so that's why I got like the proper vibes up. Now I don't know if every BD droid does that, but this is kind of the second BD droid that we've ever seen, so it's interesting to see. I wonder will they make a reference to Cal Kestis, because I wouldn't be surprised with the new game coming out if they did something to kind of cross him over into live action after the second game gets released. So could potentially be around like Mando Season 4 maybe, or maybe they could do something crazy and even have him in like Obi-Wan before the release of the second game. Like you wouldn't know, but it's just the opportunities I suppose are endless with this growing Filoniverse, as we call it. What did you think of the Naboo, the N1 starfighter?
Oh were you hyped to see it? It was so cool, bro. It was like the minute you see it, it's yellow, it's got the shape to it, you're excited. And everything that they're working on, the way they transformed it into like a more like a chopper looking like with the engine showing, the two big rail guns like sticking out in the front of it. That entire scene was just it felt good. I didn't realize I wanted to watch a show where they just put together a starfighter, but like I was thrilled to be watching all of that. Yeah. It just felt like it was riddled with like Star Wars nostalgia, cinema nostalgia, like the different shots they had there that were just taken, like you were talking about earlier. They have like the Terminator reference with like the shot, like they take a lot of shots from different stuffs during that scene and during this whole episode. Yeah, and I loved it. I loved being there when they started to like strip the paint off of it.
Yeah.
Oh my god, bro, loved it.
It was great, and there was a Jurassic Park reference as well, which I thought was great, where she's getting dragged away, which I thought was very funny in that whole kind of sequence as well, which was amazing. And I don't know if you noticed, but the part that the Jawas bring for Din Djarin, that part, it's called the density combustion booster.
Okay.
That part is actually what Han Solo uses to try and stop the walls coming in episode 4. So they've actually made a reference to the original movie, which I thought was crazy.
That's too funny, man. That's great. I love that.
Love it too. So yeah, and then obviously as well, to top the icing on the cake, he gets to take it out for a spin. We hear it, we see it in action, and then
Well,
he takes
real
a
quick.
Go on.
You don't think the icing on the cake is knowing that character, the mechanic, slept with the Jawa?
Yeah.
That was fantastic.
Yeah. They're real furry.
They were- I think like she improvs almost all her lines. Like they just let her
Yeah.
go.
Yeah.
And like she is just a riot, man. Like that character is one of the funnest characters in all of Star Wars.
Yeah.
And I'm so happy that she like came back again in Boba Fett to actually work on that thing.
Oh, dude.
But yeah, once he takes off and like is testing this thing off or testing the ship out. Woo!
Yeah, I couldn't believe it, and then like I knew straight away when he started dipping down through the caves and stuff. I was like, "This is the pod racing track." I didn't even need to see the. I didn't need to see the bit with the ramp. I knew it was the track already. I knew it so well. And then when we saw the shot of inside the cockpit as well, I was like, "This is amazing!" Like I was like, I was eating it up, bro. I could not believe it.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I saw people like making videos about how like the barrier was still broken from when Anakin flew through it, and I was like, have I watched the prequels too many times that I was like, this is just so obvious to me. Like I did not need that explained to me for a second, But obviously some people do. But and when he just lifts up and launches into space, I was just like, this is incredible. Like so cool. And he's flying around the public transport, and he's doing the spins. And then we see the two X-wings. I was losing it, man. I was like, this is Star Wars. Like this is the way.
This is the way. This is the way.
This is the way.
It is, and I before we were talking about this before we were recording, I love the way that the director Bryce Howard, she like really was like showed you how to like how fast everything is. Where they start off and his ship is going slow through on Tatooine like ground level, and she's like, he gets told, hey, you're not flying that thing like a fighter, like really kick it, and then like it takes off and zooms. Like that type of stuff is so thrilling.
Yeah.
And I'm right there with you. The pod racing scene, like I think they show the Womp Rat in there. That's like a callback to Luke, like the Womp Rat in Bagger's Canyon. Like it's word for word what he said is right there. Like it's just awesome, man.
Oh, dude. And then as well,
and
like,
then,
if you break that down even further, like Luke would have been. That's implying that Luke like hung around that pod racing track. And that's something that I would love to see because obviously, we have the history with Anakin there, and then there's Luke in his youth as well, playing around that area and stuff like this. It's beautiful, man. It's poetry.
It's great. And what do you think about the little Grogu bubble on the Naboo ship?
Yeah, I think Grogu's definitely fitting in there. And if it's not Grogu, I want BD1 in there. If it can't be Grogu, if he can't lead the Jedi Temple, because I really don't think, unless like Din Djarin gives up his life and tries to become a Jedi, I don't see Grogu being in the show much going forward. So that's the only kind of way that I see that happening, is if he actually joins the Order. But I don't know. Maybe he will join the Order now that he's been thrown out of the Mandalorian. So it's hard to know. But I just loved I loved everything about this episode. It was just back to back, every minute of it. There was something. Or there was a reference somewhere. There was just something stunningly beautiful to look at, to listen to. Like even the sound effects of the Darksaber and like everything about the episode. The Naboo starfighter was just, it sounded amazing. I just got like proper kind of tuner, kind of hot rod vibes off it. And whereas we were giving out about that sort of thing in episode 3, they just did it right here in episode 5.
Yep.
It's like it belonged. I know it kind of looked like it was like exposed engine like they do on the hot rods. But it looked like it belonged,
It wasn't that they were driving mopeds. It's how clean they looked.
Yeah.
And like this thing takes off and it's like, it's dirty. It's, they grinded the paint off of it.
Yeah.
It looks lived in. It looks like Star Wars. Star Wars is not a perfect looking world. On Naboo it was, right? Because that's the Naboo culture. They're like the fanciest people in the universe, right? Yeah. But everywhere else, it's a little bit run down. It's a little bit gritty. It's worn.
Yeah.
And, them going to space, like you said, I didn't even realize how much I missed going to space in a Star Wars show, because this is the first time we've been off planet the entire series, which is a huge mistake. Boba Fett, when he takes Slave One, we should have been in space, right? Like, I don't think he took that thing to outer space, and he should have.
No.
Like, he should have done a lap around the planet. It's like something, like, put us amongst the stars. Yeah. This is a space opera series. Like, this is the whole deal. This is like,
I think,
God, I love being in space.
I think Boba is staying on the ground because he wants people to still think that he's dead. That's the only reason why that's happening.
He's making me dead inside, okay? That's what he's doing. I'm right there with him. No one's even checking up on me anymore. They think I'm Boba Fett.
Did you know, fun fact as well, when the two X-Wings are interrogating him, the guy on the left is the dude who was Mark Hamill's body double for the Luke scenes in episode 2.
That's
So
hilarious.
that kind of tells me that we're getting more Luke. It's pretty
Yeah.
obvious. Because the end of the episode, to kind of wrap up the video, the episode ends. We get Fennec Shan back. It turns back into the Boba Fett show with the last 30 seconds. It stops being Mando season 3 episode 0. It goes back to being Boba Fett for 30 seconds. We get Fennec in. She offers him the job. Mando says, "Who's the bounty?" And it's like, it's not a bounty. We just need muscle.
Yeah.
And then he throws the money back at her. If it's for Boba, I'll do it for free. I was like, yes, let's go. This is amazing. So, my predictions going forward, I think we're going to get maybe 10 minutes in the next episode of him going to meet up with Luke and seeing Grogu, giving him the gift. And then I think he goes back to Tatooine. And then I think maybe we might get Crimson Dawn, Bosk, Cad Bane on the other side with the Pikes.
Yeah.
And then it's going to be a all-out brawl.
Did you catch the callback to what Luke said about Yoda at the very end? He says, "I need to go see an old friend." That's
Yes.
That's what Mando said. I'm like, oh my god!
I know.
Yes.
This
Is what I need.
I need to go visit a small friend or something, or a tiny friend or something, he says. And that's exactly what Luke said, yeah. Amazing, dude. Like, the episode was...
Fantastic.
Yeah, it was. It was a perfect episode. Like, there's nothing I would change. It was 5 times better than what I was expecting to see, So it's a perfect 10 out of 10 for me.
It is for me too. It definitely is the best episode we've seen from The Mandalorian as a TV show ever. I know everyone's made this joke before, but truly it did not feel like it was part of the series.
Yeah.
I think that's the biggest criticism is about this is like, if this is just an episode of The Mandalorian, it's fantastic. The way it fits into the Book of Boba Fett, it's kind of weird. Before this conversation, I was talking about how it does feel like a book where it's like you're with another character for 4 chapters, then there's just another chapter of a whole nother character. And you don't hear anything about the main protagonist for a little bit.
Yeah.
It's weird the way they're splitting this thing up. It's the weirdest TV show. It's so different in tone from episode to episode. It's kind of frustrating. But this episode by itself, I put it above the Luke episode.
Wow.
I think that if you take your nostalgia for Luke Skywalker out of it, right, and you just put it up there pound for pound, like the tone of it, the action, everything going on in it, the ship, like if you just put it up there without Luke and without being the excitement of seeing Luke, I think it's a better episode. I really do. Like overall, the whole thing, it's just wildly better to me. And I wish Bryce Howard would get a series, a movie, a franchise, give her whatever she wants in Star Wars, because she understands this better than I think anybody right now in terms of directing.
Yeah, I think throw her in the mix with Dave and John and just let the 3 of them just go to town and make some amazing content. Give them a movie. I really think that, if we do, because we've got Obi-Wan, we've got Mando, we've got... the Ahsoka show, all that sort of thing. I think if you let all these run, and then at the end you have one big kind of like movie event, like Heir of the Empire with Thrawn and stuff like that, and just let her do it with Dave and John, and I think you make an absolute mind-blowing movie to end this like Filoni-verse. Absolutely. Yeah, 100%.
And a 5, 10 out of 10.
Yeah. 100%.
Can't wait to see the next episode ruin it.
I hope it doesn't. I think the next episode has the potential to be even better. I've been not to kind of speak about like rumors and stuff like that, but some of the stuff I'm reading online, we could be potentially see 3 characters they're saying in the next episode. 3 kind of fan favorite characters, and I would not be surprised if we saw Luke, Leia, and Han.
Oh, now that they put Luke back in there, the door is like wide open. Yeah, it's wide open. If we can see Lando, I think, in this thing, because he deals in like the nefarious realm still. Like all of this is wildly possible now because of Luke's thing. If they put the 3 of them together, that literally will be like that's the only way they could probably outdo the Luke cameo is if they put the 3 of them together in a scene. And that would be crazy.
They may as well bring like R2D2, C3PO, easy wins, easy to do.
Yeah.
And then you just make it feel like the actual sequel to Episode 6, like so nice.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Look. Yeah. Amazing. Guys, if you like the content, make sure to hit like on the video, subscribe to the channel if you're new, and we'll be back next week to talk episode 6.
Episode 6. Hopefully it's just as good as this one.
Oh, I think it's going to be better.
Later
Guys. Bye.